Yeah, so we went karaokeing with two girlfriends of mine, and Josh, I was like, find Josh. I'm like, he was like the one guy coming along, and I'm like, okay, just like karaoke this one song with me. So we did Hey Ma, Cameron, and I took like the female lead. It's a slow song. They were like, you killed it. It's like, can't even touch that anymore, because like in their minds it was like level 10 status.
Hey, you perfected it.
Perfected it. But it's hard. So yeah, if you ever want to karaoke, don't bring Josh. He's not good.
Hey ma,
What's up?
let's slide.
Alright.
Alright, we gon' get it on now. You smoke,
I smoke.
I drink.
Me too.
Well good, we gon' get hot tonight. Got drops,
Got clothes.
got trucks.
Got G's.
Alright, and we gon' take a ride tonight. So ma,
What's up?
let's slide.
Alright.
Alright, and we gon' get
Yo,
it on tonight.
now it's downtown clubbing, ladies' night. Seen Shorty, she was crazy, right? And I approached baby like.
Welcome to This Broken Mixtape, the podcast that rewinds and presses play on the soundtrack to your life. I'm Jeff Wu.
I'm Justin Lee.
Men's vintage clothing store, In Vintage We Trust, launched as an online store before opening a brick-and-mortar location in Toronto's Parkdale neighbourhood 3 years ago. The store carries a hand-picked assortment of brand-name workwear, sportswear, military, and music apparel. We recently sat down with store owners Chantal Varela and Josh Roeder to discuss vintage fashion, 90s hip-hop, and which rappers they consider the ultimate style lords.
Welcome to This Broken Mixtape. We're here with our special guests, Josh and Chantal, owners and operators of In Vintage We Trust, a vintage store in Toronto's Parkdale. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So first off, we'd love to talk about how you started this store. Tell us a little bit about your background in fashion and what really gave you guys the idea of starting this vintage store.
Okay,
You want me to go? Okay.
Okay.
Me and Chantal met in retail. We actually met at a jean store in Yorkville called Over the Rainbow. And we fell in love and started our relationship. And since then, we've worked in many different facets of fashion. At one point, Chantal moved to Montreal and was a designer at Le Chateau. And I worked in the sales agent business and new clothing as a brand manager. And you worked...
I did that too.
Yeah, she
I did
worked
sales
doing that.
repping. Yeah, I did. We did pretty much I would say a vast array of everything in the industry, and then we just kind of like came together. So I basically...
Like Voltron.
Yes.
I basically moved back from Montreal, and we're just kind of like, hey, do you want to work together? And we're like, okay, cool, let's do that, and then move in together and start a business. And we just kind of piled it all together, and we're still here. So that's pretty good.
Still standing.
Still standing,
Amazing.
barely.
That's pretty daunting all at once, both
Yes.
your
Yeah.
professional and your personal lives.
Totally.
I mean, I was in the vintage business before me and Chantal teamed up, but it got pretty real fast. She's a tough cookie, so she really, whipped me into shape.
Well, I think we share a lot of different strengths for the most part. So I think us coming together, it's a lot easier when one person is one way and another person is another way, because if you both are not passionate about the same things, but you both kind of want to only do the fun stuff, you can pretty much go like two completely opposite ways. So I'm like the more conservative person, and Josh is definitely the more frivolous one. So we butt heads, but it ends up getting us to this point. So we've been together doing vintage since 2010, and Josh has been the vintage guy since like 98. He's always been this way. Everyone's like, what was Josh like when you met him 100 years ago? And I'm like, exactly like you see him now. Like, there's no difference. I'm pretty much the same. We're like opposites, but we work very well together. But it was hard. Every challenge was hard. We started online, and then out of our apartment, we were doing online, and then we moved to a tiny little office. It was like under 400 square feet. And we literally were like, are we going to be able to pay for rent? I don't even know. So then we did that for like 2 years, and then we almost tripled our office size. And then we started the store 3 years ago. So that was daunting and a whole different ball game than online, because we only sold less than 3% to Canadians. So we tested with flea markets in the city, and we're like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like, people kind of like are down with our vibe and I guess the stuff that we were selling. And then we're like, okay, let's open a store. And that was hard. That
it's a big step.
Yeah, it was a really big jump, because you're dealing with like flea markets, and you're like getting sort of like a customer that's like coming to shop or like enjoying an experience. And we're like, okay, we're gonna make this permanent. And we were like, it was a scary jump. I mean, I'm happy we did it, but
plus the way that we do vintage is very different than like what Canadian customers are accustomed to.
yeah,
Everything is curated like a new clothing store would be, by brand and
we didn't want
commodity.
anything kitschy, nothing kitschy. Like, everyone's like, oh, you're gonna like, do you want like crazy splattered painted mannequins? And I'm like, no, I want it to look like a new clothing store. They're like, are you gonna handwrite your receipts? I'm like, no, I'm getting a POS system. So I really wanted a store that looked like a new clothing store. So then when anyone came in, whether you were a vintage shopper or not, it was a more pleasant experience than like going to a thrift store and going through like a ton of shit and finding maybe like one gem, and you're like, oh, there's a stain on the back of it. Okay, back at the drawing board. Where here it's like you're going through pre-graded goods that are curated by brand. So it's like you can come in and be like, I want concert tees, and I'm like, this area, and they're all by genre. So it's a good experience. I mean, the one downfall, everyone's like, it's too neat in here, but I mean, it's
you guys do a great job. It's one of the nicest looking.
Get a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, it's pristine.
Yeah,
It's very clean.
I mean, I think that's like sort of this like misconception about vintage stores. I mean, just because you're selling like used, previously enjoyed clothing doesn't necessarily mean that it has to look like and feel like, a dump, right?
Well, the other thing is like when we opened up the shop, vintage clothing stores traditionally put their 5 like hottest items on this pedestal at the top so you can't touch them. Whereas we don't fuck with that shit. So we just mix it in with like whatever. So if you went to like, if you went to the Patagonia section, there's a printed chinchilla there from 99 that's $128 mixed in with the ones that are 68. Or there's a $450 Run DMC tougher than leather t-shirt in with the wrap tees. Right? Like the $68 wrap tees, and then there's a $450 one. So we wanted to give customers, like local customers, the option of touching and seeing a lot of items that they've only ever seen on a screen, right?
Yeah.
Online. That's what's up.
So tell us about some of the labels that you guys do carry.
We carry like basically everything within menswear from the last 100 years, like a lot of workwear. So that's going to be Dickies, Carhartt, athletic clothing. So that's gonna be like Champion, Russell, Fila, yeah, and then like branded like sneaker, brands like Fila, Nike, Adidas, Kappa now, because that's a ting. And then we do like a big sport jersey mix and stuff. So basically anything that's older than like 10 years or not in production anymore.
Really,
so
no
like
off brands.
Yeah, no off brands.
Zero.
Like we won't carry unless it's like a real brand. We won't carry it. Yeah, it's got to be because that's how men shop. It's how dudes shop. Like I could show you 50 pairs of jeans, but you're only looking for Levi's. You know what I'm saying? Like in the world of pre-owned vintage, jeans. So. Sure.
Just a disclaimer, if you hear any grunts in the background, we don't just have some like old senile man here. It's O'Shea, Josh and Chantal's French Bulldog, who is kind of the de facto mascot of In Vintage We Trust.
Yeah, he's the general manager and security guard.
Yeah, we're not editing around
with
him.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever asked you guys this. Is O'Shea, is he named after like Ice Cube or just
No.
He's named after a sporting goods brand from Chicago called O'Shea Knitting Mills or King O'Shea, but he has really grown into his name and
He is
literally
Ice Cube.
acts like Ice Cube
As a
all the time. He's just
yeah, super aggressive.
very aggressive and a jerk
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the time.
He
Yeah.
is his name. I'm
And
like, we should have named him.
He thinks
like,
he's like a 150-pound mastiff.
Yeah,
Like he's really intense.
yeah. He's going to bed.
When we opened, it was like the tail end of kind of like the heritage boom, and the customer was tailing off of that. So it took us a while to kind of grow into our customer base
Yeah, we
and
were.
find out who they were. But
It was a bit of a transition. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I would say like we sell, garments to anyone who, I would say guys and girls, from like 16, 17 up to like
That's probably
Late
our
30s?
youngest of our core
Yeah.
customer. The
most of our core customers are what? in their,
early
like,
20s.
early to mid 20s.
Yeah, I would have to say. So we probably had. I mean, we do have a lot of people on all different spectrums. Like we have 8-year-olds that shop in here that are like growing into their jerseys. They'll buy like the size 36, and mom's like, make sure you grow into it. So it's cute because you get sort of like a wide range of people. But I'd say the majority are early 20s, early to mid 20s for sure. Yeah.
I'm curious about that because I mean, you, especially with like the sort of vintage T-shirts, like the music T-shirts. I mean, if you have a bunch of younger kids buying this stuff, it's almost like they're nostalgic for an experience they never actually went through.
They're nostalgic to look like rappers that
Yeah.
wear concert t-shirts.
Yeah.
Right.
There is no nostalgia, and a lot of the time, I kind of fuck with it because like the younger generation doesn't give a fuck. Like they don't care that they don't know the band on the tee. You know what I'm saying? Like they're
more
into
about
the
a look.
style and the swag of it rather than like, yo, you didn't go to that Metallica show in like 91. It's not about that for them. Same thing about like a lot of like the sportswear that we have, or like luxury brands like Hilfiger and Polo.
lot
Like
of
they're not
rated
wearing
items,
yeah,
yeah.
they're not wearing it like kids did in like the early 90s. They're not trying to be nostalgic with it. They're reinventing the game. Like they're wearing it in a new way. So like I would say the older people like that shop in the store want that nostalgic factor. Like, yo, oh
I
damn.
wore this in high school, or I went to this like tees, mainly like concert tees.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa, like I always wanted to go to that concert, or like I wish I bought that tee, or I threw this shirt away. So it's a different way of like wanting something where like a younger kid is just like, that's hot and I just want to buy it. So I mean, it's
Like I
two
like how the
different-
reds and blues mesh, man.
it's two different like ways of looking at it. So there are like your music truists that like will never buy a band that they don't listen to. They're like, I don't care how cool this shirt is, like I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not down with so and so. And other kids are like, but that graphic is hard. So like a lot of like metal bands are super popular right now in fashion. But I mean, I'd have to say like less than 1% of people that buy a concert tee could maybe even name a song. But I mean, I don't want to like harp on them for it. I mean, ask me to name a song from a band I listen to and I struggle with that. So it's just it's just a new way. And I'm sure like when I was a decade younger, I was just as annoying, just wanting stuff just because it was cool, and there were probably older people that were like, but don't you remember? Like, you could not pay me to wear Kappa right now. Like, I grew up with that. It was not a fashion kid who was wearing it.
Yeah.
And for these young kids, they don't have that to look back on. So it's like a clean slate for them. They're like, it's a rated brand. Like, I'm gonna rock it. And I'm just like, good for you. I love that, but like I could never do it.
Because you weren't there in 98 and like talking to some Guido with like sideburns and a weird looking goatee and
Call
like
him out.
Well, I think-
Mastros on.
I think it's interesting for someone to buy a tee for a band that they haven't listened to. They might actually find that band interesting after buying the shirt, which is great.
I mean, what's kind of different with Josh and I is that we try to give you guys a little bit of tidbit on something new that you may be buying. So it's like, whether it's a brand or a music group or something, you could be like, well, I don't know what that is, or when did that actually happen? We would try to be like, okay, this is from this era, or like, this is a metal group. Like, you'd be surprised many people are like, I've never heard of like this band. And I'm like, okay, well, they did this or that. And then maybe then if they're wearing it, someone could ask them and they have like a little bit of information, because we try to, it's not really like educating, but it's like maybe they can kind of be like, oh, this brand is cool, like vintage Gap, like no one would touch it. And we're like, okay, well, they did this Alpine Sport era, and a lot of the designers that worked for Gap also worked for Tommy and Polo, and it was around the same time. So if you look at this Polo Sport patch, it looks very reminiscent to this Alpine one, and they're like, sick, that's cool, I didn't see that because I didn't know that. So you can kind of like turn them on to some stuff that way, but it's not, we're not like, let me teach you about this item. It's just kind of like, here's some casual information, take what you want from it. But like, we sell bootleg items, and every time I'm like, hey, just so you know, this item's bootleg, or this is why you think this Chanel scarf is $78 and not $178. So like, okay, cool. But I'm like, it's an original, and you give them a story, and it's good. Everybody's happy at the end, because you never, I mean, for me, we don't like selling stuff and people kind of feeling like maybe they didn't get, not really like the full story, but it's like they just get a little bit more information. So it's like you feel like you're paying the right amount. We don't overprice on anything. Everything is market value. So then that way, they're just like, well, how come your prices are so cheap? And I'm like, well, we price against the market. So if you want to buy a rap tee in 2017, you better
it's going to cost you
with money to do it.
But if you want to buy a Bruce Springsteen tee in 2017... you're good.
Well, it depends.
Don't sleep on it.
Are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, well, whatever. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not going to, like, buying a Bruce Springsteen
or a
tee.
Genesis tee. Like, that's not that expensive. So
no, you're good. Your money.
Rod Stewart, you're good. Neil Diamond, you're good. Metal and
not
rap.
Neil Young, though.
Yeah, not Neil.
Yeah.
Not Neil.
Preem does a photo to you, you're fucked. Yeah.
And no dead artists. Those don't. Those go for money, too. So.
How much does the value go up? Like, let's say, like when Bowie or Prince died. I mean,
actually, I remember when Bowie died, we were still online, and
we had a crazy tee.
And we actually sold it for.
They go up a bit
of money, but I mean, it wasn't that rare of a tour, and the size was odd.
The real game changer is when a celebrity wears a tee.
Yes.
That's it. It's a wrap.
That's
like,
all it takes.
I'll give you for example. There is a Brocum, which is a music licensing t-shirt company from the like early to mid 90s. They did an all over print collection in 92, 93. And one of the tees they did was a Nirvana in utero tee. And it has like a gold foil on it, whatever. They're all like the same. They did like a Metallica one, a Megadeth one. Anyways, the Nirvana one for most of my vintage career went for $70 US. We've had the tee 5 or 6 times, and they always go for about the same. So 2 or 3 years ago, Jerry Lorenzo from Fear of God bought a few of them, and Bieber wore it. It's now a $750 tee.
Yeah.
So from $70 to $750, and I haven't seen the tee in like 5 years.
Well, it's funny because we have like, with like, you know, the rise of hip hop tees being super popular, we have purchased actually quite a few original promo tees, which are aesthetically not as pleasing to look at as the bootleg ones. Same with rock tees. There are a lot of parking lot tees that are graphically so much better to look at because they'd slap like 600 pictures of like the group on the front and back, and then like maybe a tour date, which, you know, looking back can make it obviously more expensive, especially if it's a one-day show. But a lot of people will be like, sick, you have like rap tees, and then they see them and they're like, do you have any with like the artist's face on them. And I'm like, no, because that would have been a bootleg tee, and if I had it, that's like $700. So because that's what all like basically rappers and musicians right now are wearing.
But the promo tees are wild rare.
Yeah, super rare.
Never retailed.
But it'll be like the artist's name across the front, and then maybe like the album or the single on the back. So it's not like you're getting like a really cool picture of like Mary J. Blige like on the front. So, you know, I mean, they're cool to us, but it's not what the kids want, I guess.
So what are your thoughts on like the whole fear of God and anybody that like takes, you know, buys up all these old vintage?
I don't have a problem if he wants to do that to like a bunch of like super shitty Metallica tees from like 97 and 98 that they made a kabillion of, like a Korn Metallica tee.
Sure.
But I can't fuck with him defacing like Slayer. Like they're just like a Slayer tee from like, you know, 88 or 89 or, you know, there just isn't a lot of that stuff out there. And to us, it's like a part of history. It's like a relic. And it should be, I know it's fashion. I get it. Like, I know, homie, I know what you're doing. Like, I know it's like quick money and it's yada yada. But like to us, like to this industry and these, like to people like us who do this like full time and our lives revolve around it. Like we literally eat, sleep and breathe this stuff. It's not cool. Like, I don't fuck with that shit. But, you know, all, you know, good for him, whatever. It's just not my thing.
All right, so let's rewind here and talk a little bit about your own sort of personal, like, I guess, journeys with music. You know, and take it all the way back to, like, when you first started listening to music.
Yeah, take it back, Till.
Yeah. What did you guys initially start listening to when you were kids?
Boy. I listened to a lot of pop music. I listened to a lot of, I mean, I have a family with bad musical taste, and I hate to like shout them out like that, but I mean, it's really not that great. We listen to a lot of the radio stuff, but I mean, like, I swear, like, if my mom was here and you asked her for her favorite band, like, maybe she'd say the Bee Gees. But I mean, like, I listened,
she's
like,
a disco queen.
She was a disco queen. But I mean, she played like a lot of country. Listen to that. Lionel Richie. Listen to that. She kind of had like a adult contemporary, so that was kind of like my wave. And then I was like in school, and it was like Spice Girls, like Backstreet Boys. So that was the thing. I mean, my first concert was, I swear it was New Kids on the Block, and I was super young, and my mom had nosebleeds, and all I remember taking back from that was that my mom's like, you had the biggest meltdown, because she wouldn't buy me this like plastic cup with like all their faces on it. But I mean, I must have been, I don't know, maybe in grade one. It was their summer tour. I don't know what year that was, but it was I guess good. I don't know. I think I enjoyed it. But I mean, I followed, like, I grew up with my aunts. The youngest one, her and I were only 9 years apart. So I did whatever my sister did, and my sister did whatever she did. So like we kind of like followed that cycle until like I was like, I don't like that stuff. So I don't know. Josh still makes fun of me to this day. I had an All Saints CD, and he still
CD collection was lit.
still makes fun of me about it. I'm like, they had a good single.
I still listen to Never Ever all the time.
See how good is that? It's a great song. Thank you.
It's not.
Thank you.
It's not. How about Wild Orchid?
I did not. I never listened to Wild Orchid. Never did.
I was like,
annoying with music.
I was pretty snobbish, like early on. Like I would say from the age of like 10, as soon as I could start like making semi-decisions and being cognitive about like life, I was into non-commercial music, so to speak. Like the first CD I ever bought was, I think, the Black Album when I was 10 in 93. So I didn't buy it in 90, but I bought it in 93. And then I was heavily influenced by like I listened to, I guess, classic metal and like early stadium rock, Zeppelin and Sabbath for many years. And then I found out about rap music in 97. And that, like,
What was,
rap changed my life, man. No, like, it really did.
what was like the first artist that you really got on?
97?
97, yeah.
I would say when Wu-Tang Forever came out, like the double LP, Reunited, double LP, World Excited, that was like a big eye-opener, because earlier the only rap music that the media in Canada would cover in like the early to mid-90s was like super shitty garbage. Like the early 90s was like MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice. You know, there's no internet or anything, and the only rap magazines I remember were like Word Up. You know what I'm saying? Like Wrap It Up, like bad stuff. So I found out about, I would say 97, yeah, grade 9, I found out about New York rap music, and then that was it. It was like, yeah, I lost it after that.
And
Got
did you almost
entrenched.
exclusively just listen to rap from that point on, or?
I would say in 97 and 98. By 98, I was like head to toe Echo, FUBU, size 40 pants, Wallabies, Tim's, t-shirt sleeves on my head like a do-rag, like super extra, but only New York rap music. Like I was a New York dude.
Still like that.
Yeah, kind of. I'm pretty heavy in it still, but like back then, because there was still like a lot of music coming out of the 5 boroughs, like it was really easy to get into it, because every week there would be, and mixtapes, right? Like there were so many mixtapes and so many DJs active in the city, and there were a few stores that were remain nameless that had like illegal mixtape plugs and stuff, so I could go and cop, and you know what I mean, listen with your friends, bootleg the mixtape, sell it at school, you know what I'm saying, for a little bit of extra money. So yeah, it was good.
And because you guys have like such a, you know, stark difference in music, I mean, was that ever an issue?
No. So
Chantal fucks with hard body music.
I do like a lot of rap. I do like I'm like a 90s mid 2000s kind of gal, but I like more like jiggy hip hop kind of thing.
Yeah, like
So
platinum era.
that is like my kind of jam. I am a bad boy girl. I do like a lot of those artists, but I mean, for Josh and I, our one common thing is we do really like,
Eric Sermon.
okay,
No, sorry.
aside from
Yeah.
that, the sound of East Coast rap or hip hop music. We're not West Coast people. I mean, sure, I can dip into it a little bit, but I mean, I'm not into trap. I had a lot of like, just the sound is just not really what I'm into. So I think like for us, we both sort of jive on that. But I mean, he's way more heady into that stuff than I am. I don't know. It's like
I think it would be an issue if we both were like,
too extra with everything. So we try to just kind of like we both love like fashion and music, but it's like my love is like here and Josh's is like its own, it needs its own room, you know? Like he's very like, when we first met in 2002, like I couldn't even stand him. Like it was he was like I am New York. I only fuck with East Coast, this and that. I only wear Levi's engineered jeans. And I'm just like, I can't, like, it's too, like, has to be this way. But
it's true mathematics.
it's just,
It is or it isn't.
It is or it isn't.
How did he
So,
eventually win you over then?
I don't know, just broke me down, I guess, over the years.
Persistence.
But
Yeah.
it is, persistence was key, I have to say.
Charm?
But
Yeah, a lot of charm.
Yeah.
No,
Yes, I
I
mean,
literally refused to date anyone else, and then I just hung around her every day for 6 months until she.
it's true. We were
she
friends
said-
first, but
yeah.
I mean, we get along. Like people are like, I don't get it, but I'm just like, this is Josh. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, he's very true to himself. I mean, even me, like, I really don't. Fashion's kind of like I put everything into work, so it's like the store looks great, questionable on my end, but I mean, everything just sort of, we both like kind of focus on like the end goal or like where things are like where we're trying to get to, and that's like where all like the energy is sort of driven into.
Yeah, we're
And
all in.
yeah, all sort of in. But I mean, like, we have a lot of music battles. Like, we road trip a lot, and it's like I have to sneak in like a few like R&B tracks, and I'm just like, are you gonna be sick if this plays? So, you know.
Yeah, like Chingy or
I put that. I didn't even.
some
Okay.
of those R. Kelly remixes. Are
Okay, R. Kelly has a
super-
lot of great jams. I mean, he's not in
Cassidy
the best light
joint?
right now. Cassidy also, but that was with R. Kelly. So I mean, you know, he's not the best artist to highlight.
I'm just so
right
glad there isn't
now.
a lot of reggaeton because I can't
It's
deal
true.
with that
I
at
do
all.
like, but I don't.
That's
I
how
don't
Justin
play
feels
that.
about reggaeton.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
like my most hated genre
Is it?
of all
I
time.
hate
Okay.
reggaeton.
Yeah, it really.
I said it.
It really
I'm
upsets
out.
I
me.
said it. I'm out.
I'm anti-reggaeton.
I am too. It's upsetting because like sometimes the people will request reggaeton songs, so I
course.
have certain ones just staple favorites that people always ask for, and it just hurts my feelings when I have
Yeah.
to play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do not like reggaeton.
I like a lot of songs that you can karaoke to. I mean, I'm a terrible karaokeer, but I commit. I do enjoy
What's
it.
your go-to?
Oh, I mean, okay, rap is like the kiss of death. Like, you should never do it, but it's like I always try. Like, I always try. Like, I try like a 50 Cent song, and it's like too fast. Like, it's so fast. Biggie, Juicy, like, it's good, but it's like it's hard. Like, they're really hard. So it's like I try to stick to like No Doubt. Like, that's pretty good. Alanis Morissette, like. It's better. Like, I gotta stick mid-range. I can't do any Mariah. Like, they're too
On
high.
road trips, though, like I'll be like, "Yo, we could
Josh
do
is
this."
the worst
like, we could
karaokeer.
do this.
Like, the worst ever. Like, he's just like, play that song. Like, let me try. And it's like 3 bars in. He's like, oh. He's like, try another one. And I'm just like, you suck, because it's like so fast.
This is
So-
in the car, or this
In
is
the
like
car,
Like,
this
we'll,
isn't
like we'll be
even-
like, "Yo, next time we run karaoke, like run the Hey Ma."
No,
like,
we
got
had
this.
one good.
That's a tough
we went-
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we went karaokeing with 2 girlfriends of mine, and Josh, I was like, fine, Josh. I'm like, he was like the one guy coming along, and I'm like, okay, just like karaoke this one song with me. So we did Hey Ma, Cameron, and I took like the female lead. It's a slow song. They were like, you killed it. It's like, can't even touch that anymore, because like in their minds it was like level 10 status.
Yeah, you
but-
perfected it. Yeah.
Perfected it. But it's hard. So yeah, if you ever want to karaoke, don't bring Josh. He's not good.
I'm curious, actually. We we should do it.
You should do it.
Yeah.
No, I'm live.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah.
No, you try the cadence too hard, and then you get trapped doing this a lot, and then like the
Yeah.
song is like way past,
Yeah.
like way past.
I'm really into just people putting in big effort.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm big
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
I hit no
Low
notes.
results, big effort.
Yeah,
We
big
got
effort.
that.
You know, come
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
That is
have to.
that is like half of what karaoke is, like
Yeah.
effort
It's
and
true.
enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
as long as you're enthusiastic about it, who cares how good you actually
Yeah.
are?
Yeah,
You
oh
wanna be
no,
tight
good
with it.
singers are the worst.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
the
yeah,
worst.
the
I'm like,
ringers?
great, you can sing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
True.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're not invited.
Yeah,
no
no.
good singers are
Yeah.
allowed to come.
Let me hear your pitch before you come.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So, what do you guys play inside the store during?
We exclusively play hip hop soul samples, so original samples
Nice.
used in rap songs and stuff. Usually from like the golden era. We do have like some snippets of like, because there isn't a whole lot of new rap that samples.
no, a lot of new rap artists sample dance. I don't
Yeah, we can't fuck with that.
Yeah,
But like,
too much.
there's a bunch of like Boy Wonder tracks that sample like some ill soul shit. So we have like all that stuff on there.
I think the key for us is we used to play a lot of like rap music, but people kind of get like stuck into the song. It was like O'Shea used to be like tethered to our like big fat pole in front of our cash desk, and people just kind of get like trapped in like, oh, it's a cute dog, like let me just like get on the floor and roll around with him. And I'm like, maybe let's shop.
Yeah.
So we kind of, he stays behind his like infamous chair. People come in, see him, say what's up, and then we just play samples. So people will hear like melodies and stuff like that, and they're like, what is this? Like, what is this? Like, why do I know this? And then it's better than kind of singing along. I mean, we do have whistlers and people that snap and
Toe
clap,
tappers.
toe tappers, and it's like my number one pet peeve. So if you're listening to this and you come in, please stop doing it, because I like cringe. Like the second whistling and snapping comes out and then drumming, I can't. I don't know what it is. It just
Is that
drives-
usually among like older people?
No.
No, there's a lot of young snappers.
A lot of young snappers.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. I thought
Pay
it was
attention, all you
giant-
young snappers out there.
Yeah. Don't snap in retail stores. Yeah, no. But no. We keep music pretty low key. I think it helps the shopping experience.
Yeah, makes sense.
Also advised with like the mix that we have inside the store. You know what I mean? Like all original. We sell vintage clothing. So
You know, obviously there's like a lot of sort of fashion trends. Tell us like some of the best ones, current fashion trends right now, and then on the other end of the spectrum, some of the worst ones in your opinions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, like stuff that's trending that we think is dope. Like I like turtlenecks. I think that's fire. Cause it's like
It's the mock neck,
the
actually.
mock neck. It's like the half turtleneck. So it's dope too, because like from a sourcing perspective, I'm looking at like things in new light where I would toss something like 3 years ago because it wasn't the silhouette in 2013 or 2014, but now I'm looking at it completely differently. So yeah, mock necks are dope. They're tight.
Yeah, I think I do appreciate like a lot of our customers that are embracing a somewhat baggier silhouette. I think that's what's keeping us also in business, because we do not get a lot of smalls or mediums. I'm sorry for anyone who wants to wear things fitted. It is like
It's
near
so
impossible.
tough.
It's super tough. Even in new fashion, smalls, mediums, double XLs are made the least in terms of like the full spectrum of sizing. So I think like a lot of people are like, well, what do you have in extra small? And I'm like, 3 items. So
Yeah,
I
like
think,
we'll have young kids come in and they want like fire Tommy like flag pieces, or like some crazy polo piece, or even like just core 90s fashion, but they want it super small, and it's like it doesn't exist because no one wore it
like
that
that.
size. Like everyone wore, if you're a medium in 2017, you're an XL in 1998.
So one thing about like sort of current hip hop is that, I mean, arguably I would say the fashion has gone more interesting. It's expanded more, right? Because, you know, back in like the golden era of hip hop, it was really just, you know, one could say it was just baggy jeans and like
A lot of
jerseys
Carhartt.
and, you know, how do you guys feel about that?
I think it's cool. Like if anything, it's more like what hip hop was like in like the late 70s, early 80s, like really experimental,
more flamboyant.
super flamboyant, right? Like, I mean, Young Thug, like wears dresses, you know what I'm saying? Like people really don't give a fuck. It's cool. I'm into that. I'm just not into the music. I don't want to like, it's just not my era. And that's something like we communicate to customers all the time. I don't diss it. Like I'm not an old head.
It's just
like,
not for me.
that's
Yeah.
your generation. That's your era. Embrace it. But I'm not going to be some old dude on the sideline trying to do a new dance to a new song. Like, you know, I'm going to listen to my soul samples. I'm going to sell vintage clothing. I'm going to be over here in whale cord, you know, big baggy jeans with a pair of Timbs on. And that's what's up, right? Like we always stay in our lane.
Always.
Like I'm not trying to be some new dude.
No.
Chantal's not,
Never.
you know what I'm saying? But Chantal's had the same haircut since she was 3 years old. Like we're really out here. Like
Yeah.
we're the same people, you know? So I think that's refreshing for some customers too, that they know like what they're getting.
Well, everyone's making something new for themselves, right? And it's
But
just
that's
like,
what
Yeah.
happens with every generation. Like I'm sure like our parents were just like I know for sure my mom, like when she would be like, oh, I know that song. Like if it was like a cover or something, and I was like, how dare you say, like try to relate to like what I'm listening to. So I think like, you know, we're at an age where it's like trends are coming back that we, you know, grew up with in high school, elementary school, and you're just kind of like, okay, cool. Like they're taking it and making it it their own, but it's like I'm not out here trying to like do it with you. I'm not like, yeah, cool, let's like put a tracksuit on and mix
Well, yeah, we have
brands.
like customers that come in all the time. Tracksuits are like a big thing because of like what's happening in the UK and grime and all that stuff. And I'm going to sell it to them if they want it. And I'm going to stock it inside the store, and I'm going to reference what's real to the store within that, like early 90s, and I'll tell you what was happening and why it was ill, and casual culture in England and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be at the Skepta show. Like, that's you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not there.
Think about like the past and present in hip hop. Who would you say are some of the best hip hop personalities, style wise?
Oh, like Style Lords?
Style wise, yeah.
I'd probably go with like top 5.
Top 5.
Dead or Alive.
Mm-hmm.
Graham Poobah. Probably Big Daddy.
Tupac was pretty good. I mean, he did wear a lot of Karl Kani. I know that's like a typical choice, and that's like white girl comment. So I know it's
You're going
not-
with that? All right, I'll let you have one.
Not really. I wouldn't. But a lot of promotion there.
I go with Ghostface probably.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mess with Ghost, like everything that he was about. I felt like during his era and not his era, he was able to kind of transcend, old headish ways. But like in like the early mid 2000s, everyone thought Wu was washed. He was doing his solo shit, and like
I've always
all the
liked
photo
Nas's
shoots were
look,
fire.
But it's classic.
Nas is super classic. Yeah,
Still
he's super
relevant today.
easy. Yeah. That new clothing
Yeah, I
line,
know
though.
that
What
it's
is
bad.
that?
It's bad, but he performed. Remember we watched him at the NBA?
Yeah, he looked live.
He looked
yeah,
good.
just a Mets fit, like so good. And I'll go with Cameron. That's
Yeah, of
easy.
course.
Like super easy. And
Yeah.
it I would say Cameron, and then a 6 I just put Fab in there because I mean,
He was
I-
good for an era. Yeah.
I mean still
Yeah.
he's live. Yeah, he's still with it. And he was literally like my style idol for like 5 years of my life. It was full Fab Cam all the time,
I
right?
do like Diddy's look. He wore a lot of mock necks.
Yeah, Diddy did a lot of
Diddy
mock
did a
necks.
lot
I mean,
of
there's
necks.
so many.
Yeah,
we can
it's
go on
true.
for
What
hours.
era?
You know what I'm
It's
saying? Like,
So in closing, tell us like a few labels that you wish would really make a full-fledged comeback.
I would say Gerbeau.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Gerbeau needs it bad.
Well, do you mean come back in terms of like us selling vintage, or like
No.
all of a sudden you
Like
see
retro.
On like a massive,
store, like a massive thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, like, Josh would probably list like 100 urban brands that he
Yo, Mecca's not gotta come back.
Major Damage. Like he would make like a list of like Giovanni. Like he would literally like want like a lot of like
What am I wearing?
subpar.
Yeah, you two wear me
Yeah.
out. Like this shit was so live. But
Yeah, but I think like probably like the new upswing, because like we're hearing more people talk about it, is definitely Gerbeau, Coogee, which I mean has already been around for a bit, but it's like we have a lot of younger kids now asking about it, which is cool. And Gerbeau. Did I say that?
Yeah, you said Gerbeau twice. So you were really into that.
No,
Yeah.
so Gerbeau, sorry, Karl Kani is another one. So like people are kind of like into it.
But it's gonna get like weirder, and like the references are gonna be like more obscure, right? Like going forward, because stuff's been done and the internet makes things move a lot faster. So the tipping point for certain brands happens really fast, and sometimes it happens so fast, and the point for them to retro stuff goes past before someone like in the camp can even like react to it. You know?
Yeah, I kind of,
You know what I mean?
I
Like-
kind of don't like the explosion of brands. So it's like I already
There's no bubble anymore.
no. It's kind of like it just pops, and all of a sudden it's like everywhere. Like I kind of always say like trends go to die at like Urban Outfitters. So like Fila is already having their exclusive there. So it's good because it expands your reach on people coming in and asking for particular brands. I mean, sometimes people come in and they're like, oh, they're like, Fila's cool, but like, why is it cool? Like,
Yeah,
they don't even know
Yeah,
why
they just
they're
see
asking
it,
about
right?
it.
Because
It's
they
just
see
like
like a
you
bunch of
see it
rappers
everywhere.
wearing it, or like celebrities wearing it. You know what I mean?
But
so
the
it's
thirst
getting
is real
seeded.
because like people want like what everybody has or what like everybody's gramming. Like we sold colored camo pants, like I'm telling you, like hotcakes, like just like nonstop. And it's because people came in and they saw it on the gram and they were just like, yo, this is a good fit for the gram. I'm going to save it for the gram. Like that's literally how people shop. Like it's not like Friday night going out. It's like, yo, this is gonna be real good for the gram. Like that's like how it is. Like I'm like, that's gram worthy. Like it's just.
But like back in the day, like let's say you buy like a new pair of pants or something, you'd probably be able to wear them a few times before everyone in your circle
saw
now
it.
you
Like
gram it once and it's a wrap.
done.
Right.
You gotta come up with
ice
some new
it,
shit.
and then you
Crazy.
gotta come up with something else. People call other people out for like wearing
You're gonna
stuff
wear this,
too
yeah.
much on
It's
the
not like
gram.
you're gonna wear it twice in a row. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna get.
So I just like wear the same
get
thing
flamed out
like,
for
all
that.
the time.
I would not want to be a high school student in 2017.
No,
Yeah.
I don't
too
know how
tough.
that works. It's
It,
just
it doesn't work. It's real. It's
They gotta come out with new shit. Like
It's
they're
tough.
and everyone's a brand, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
everybody's
tough.
an image or a marketing tool. I
We
mean, it's
know
just
for sure there's customers that come in because we have mirrors in the change rooms. They'll be in there with one jacket for like 20 minutes. You're like,
It's
are
because
you
they're
doing
doing
okay? And they're doing like
an
full,
Instagram poll. I'm not kidding you. They're like, I'm just
Boomerang
doing
that.
a poll
Wow.
to see if I should buy
yeah,
this.
pull it.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is okay. This is where we're at. This is what's happening. But that's what happens. I've seen legs literally like girls in squat poses and the feet like sticking out. And I'm like, yo, are you okay? They're like, yeah, I'm just doing an Instagram poll. I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah, we got like a little bit of a hypebeast crowd, but I have to say like our core guys that like, and girls that come in, it's like right away, like Josh and I know like so-and-so would love this or they would love that. And it's like a smooth kind of process on like shopping. So,
If you put like real vibes, like good real vibes out in the world, like good people are gonna like fuck with your shit. You know what I mean? If
Yeah,
you're an
it's cool.
authentic person, like authentic people are gonna fuck with your shit. So that's kind of the basis of the store and like our whole MO.
I like it how they all found out about us, and I love like when they see like their friends in the store and they're like, when did you start shopping here? What are you buying? What are you into? Because like we literally have people and it'll take them like a year to tell like one homie to come into the store, but it's because like they're not their size or they're not like the same
Yeah,
taste.
like
Yeah.
One dude will come in, he's like 4'9", the other guy's like 6'8".
6'8". Yeah, they're just like,
Yeah, one of my
"Alright,
old
cool."
buddies, when we'd go to a sale, I'd box them out. I'd just like
Yeah.
race, and it's like we're like the same size.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, no,
Alvin.
yeah,
They'd be just
Yeah.
like, no.
yeah,
know?
real talk.
Yeah, but that's literally like what happens.
That's why I
with
hang
her.
out with Chantal, because she's like 25 and I'm like a 34, so I don't gotta worry about
We're
like
talking size or age.
size. Yeah,
Sad. I know. We're both over that hump.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys want to come down to In Vintage We Trust, it's 1580 Queen Street West. Come check it out. You guys, what are the hours?
We're Wednesday 12 to 6, Thursday, Friday 12 to 7, Saturday 12 to 6, and Sunday 12 to 5.
We are always closed on Mondays and Tuesdays because we are restocking for the Wednesday. New goods come out
Every
every
Wednesday.
single Wednesday, and
Yeah.
not like 2 garments.
Lots.
Lots.
Yeah, check out their Instagram stories. They're
Yes.
amazing.
Thanks.
Great drawings.
Thank you. Art skills come into play. Thank you, ESA.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show, Josh and Chantal.
Yeah,
Thank you very
amazing.
much,
Thank you.
Thanks for
guys.
coming by.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to episode 22 of This Broken Mixtape, featuring our guests Chantal Varela and Josh Roeder, store owners of Toronto Parkdale Vintage Menswear Shop, In Vintage We Trust. If you like what we do, we would really appreciate if you would share our podcast with your friends, and also if you would rate us so that we can reach more listeners. Also be sure to check out thisbrokenmixtape.com, where you'll find this episode's Spotify playlist and all of our other past interviews. Return next week, where we'll have our holiday wrap-up episode featuring myself and my co-host, Justin Lee. Thanks for listening. Until next time.